Okay, thanks so much. Well, I want to welcome everybody to tonight's webinar. I am super excited about being here. The topic tonight that we're going to be covering is so absolutely vital for your success in this business. We all get into this business because we want to enhance the quality of our life. We have our own goals, we have our own dreams, and as we go through that process, as we go through that journey, sometimes we get overwhelmed, sometimes we get unorganized, sometimes we drop the ball, and sometimes we get frustrated and we almost want to quit. Well, I'm here to tell you that I pretty much built a multi-million-dollar business calling leads. That's old school stuff. I wouldn't recommend anybody buy any leads today, but what I do recommend is you get really good at building relationships with your prospects, connecting with your prospects, creating a mindset that creates a need, a curiosity, and a burning desire for your prospect to want to talk to you again, because they see you as the person that can take them from where they are to where they want to go. And it's so important that you help the prospect connect those dots, guys. And you want to be friendly, you want to have fun, you want to be you don't want to be a telemarketer type person, but you know what, you need to be professional. But again, if you're going to be good at prospecting and building relationships over the phone, you got to have fun, you got to be you. Because if you don't, trust me when I say, you're going to start what I call stinking thinking. Now, we don't ever want to go there, because you know what, if we're not having fun, if we get down ourselves, we do nothing. We don't follow up. We waste our time, we waste our money, and that's certainly not your desired outcome. So, a little background on myself. I spent 17 years in the software industry prior to getting involved in network marketing. Been in the industry full-time now for 17 years. Wasn't always easy. Beat my head against the wall several times. Actually got stuck one time. Actually had to hire a coach because I was stuck at $5,000 a month income. I kind of got down on myself a little bit. It's interesting. I actually went and hired a professional coach. And my wife, Amy, says, Terry, you're paying Sonia $400 a month, I guess it was at the time, for 3 45-minute sessions. And I'm kind of telling you the same thing. But the interesting thing, folks, is that I couldn't hear it from my wife, but I could from Sonia. And I'm sure Sonia knew some things that Amy didn't. But you know what? That was my journey. And whatever your journey is what I want you to know. That is your journey. It's okay. If you want to connect with me on Facebook, you can see the link there, facebook.mlmleadschool.com. That's where you can kind of connect with me. So let's jump in here. As soon as I can get my slides to progress here we go. Okay, getting your mindset right. You know what, guys? If you don't have your head on right, nothing else really matters. Nothing else really matters. And this is true for prospecting, it's true for following up, it's true for your relationships, it's true for everything you do. So you absolutely must protect your mindset. You must nourish your mindset. You must create the environment around you, in your office, in your workplace, the people that you prospect, that empower you, make you feel good. One of the biggest mistakes I think people do is they sponsor down, they accept anything, they work with needy, whiny people. It becomes toxic, draining. They get frustrated, and then they want to quit. So what I want you to understand is that you absolutely have to be clear on your purpose and on your message. You must know your expected outcome when you talk to a person, whether that be email, whether that be instant messaging, or whether that be on the phone. Here's what I want you to think, and this is kind of an advanced tip, but I want you to think about your listening. You're listening to the prospect. What are you listening for, and then how are you listening to? And we're going to kind of go through some of this as we progress through this webinar tonight. What are you listening for, and what are you listening to in your prospect? What are the characteristics of your ideal prospect? Have you taken the time, I hope you have, and if you haven't, do it after this webinar. Have you taken the time to write down in detail a description of your ideal prospect? Make a note of that. I want at least 8 bullets. Characteristics, attributes. You can put it on a little 3x5 card if you want. You can read it every day. For those of you guys who do affirmations and stuff like that, I'll tell you the 4 attributes, characteristics that I look for in an ideal business partner. It's somebody who is passionate, somebody who is results driven, somebody who has a vision for success, and somebody who has leadership ability. Now, what does this also do? This is who I'm looking for. If somebody doesn't have at least 1 or 2 of these things, you know what I do? That's right. I disqualify them. And what I want you to understand is that you should be disqualifying people. Now, some of you guys, I know you want this really, really bad, and you accept anybody, but I'm going to tell you that when you accept anybody, you spend a lot of time with the wrong people. So when you're having a conversation with the people, I want you to make sure that they understand that this is a real business and it takes a lot of work. It's funny, I was talking to somebody just yesterday on the phone, and I said, what kind of income would you like to make? And she says, $10,000 a month. And I said, oh, okay, that's cool. And I said, in what time period? She said 12 months. I said, okay, that's cool. I said, let me ask you a question. How much time do you have a week to commit to your business? And she knows nothing really about online marketing. She wants to do it all online. She's done everything else. Very entrepreneurial person, by the way. Offline, I said, how many hours a week can you commit to making that income stream? $120,000 a year if you do the math. She's 12 hours, 10 hours. And I said, well, you know what? I don't think it's going to happen. I said, let me ask you this question. I said, do you work 10 or 12 hours a week now to make $10,000 a month? And she kind of laughed. She says, you got me. Because she works about 60 hours a week. Here's what we know, though. I know that she absolutely wants to improve the quality of her life. What I don't know is how committed she is to that. So that's one of your goals, one of your objectives as you talk to that prospect initially, as you follow up with your prospects. Write this down. This is important. I didn't put this anywhere in the presentation. Listen to what people say, but watch what they do. Listen to what people say, but watch what they do. Because you know what, gang? Their actions speak louder than the words. If somebody's not going to conference calls, checking out websites, returning your calls, what does it tell you? Because if it was a priority, don't you think they would be at it just like that? Don't you think they'd be on it? Don't waste your time chasing people who don't really have an interest. But as you have that conversation, and understand this, that every presentation you do, guys, needs to be a conversation. So every conversation you have, your goal, your objective is to get that prospect to take their problem that they have and to help them connect dots to your solution, your products, and your opportunity. That's your job. So you have to have the mindset of, hey, I can help this person. And you know what? This is not in the presentation either, but write this down. Put this in emails. Say it. When somebody describes their goals, kind of tells you what they want, I want you to pause, and I want you to say slowly, Mary, I can help you. Pause, and then go on. And the power of the pause is really, really important so people can process that. You do it for emphasis, guys. But when people hear you say, I can help you, they take one more step closer to you. It enhances their belief because you're stepping up up as a leader, and you said that you can help them because their mindset, they're coming from a place of fear. they're concerned about, are they going to make any money in this deal, because they don't know your products, they don't know your company, they don't know you. And here's what I tell prospects all the time. You know, as you look at this business that I have, Mr. Prospect, it's kind of like a dance. You make a move, I make a move, you make a move, I make a move, and before you know it, we're dancing. Because here's what I know. I know that I believe I have the best product and opportunity on the planet. I have no doubt in my mind. Now, you know what kind of commitment you're going to put forth because you want to accomplish a certain goal, whether it be college education or retirement or whatever their needs, goals, and desires are. That's the problem that they have to solve. So what we have to do is you have to look at the best of what you have, and you have to look at the best of what I have, and we have to figure out, do we have a match? And then I pause, and then I ask this question. Write this down. Does that make sense? You see, when I'm having a conversation with a prospect, I probably ask them, and you'll hear me in this conversation, even though it's monologue, but I expect you to nod up and down when you think the answer is yes, and that's up and down, and no is left and right. I want people to connect the dots, so I'm going to say, does this make sense? And they're going to say yes. And then I go to that next step. Because you know what? So many people are concerned about losing their money because it sounds too good to be true. And I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but I'm currently in my 5th network marketing business. So I've kind of been there. It's kind of a funny story. Before I got into my 4th business, and I spent 17 years in software, and after like 3.5 years tried to make something work, nothing worked. We spent a lot of money. My wife Amy never really worked outside the home. She was kindergarten aide for a little while, but that saved on kindergarten tuition. So the burden was on me, and we went through a lot of our college savings, and we went through a lot of our money, and I found this 4th company, and I live in North Carolina. I found out about it in Florida. I called Amy, told her all about it. I was so excited. There was a long pause on the phone, and she started crying. And she said, Terry, I think it's time you got a real job again. I said, honey, you don't understand. This is different. This has everything that I need. I can go do this. And sure enough, within 18 months, my residual was over $12,000 a month. Now, for some of you guys, that's a lot. For some of you guys, that's not much. Well, for me, it made a difference. And today we have the lifestyle that most people dream about. But Amy was coming from a place of fear. Most prospects are coming from a place of fear. They don't want to approach their family and friends. They don't want to approach strangers. They don't know how to market online. They're looking for somebody to take them by the hands. They don't know that you're going to be there for them. I mean, why do you want to help them become successful? But here's what I've discovered over the years, is that most people, I think this is true, most people want to be part of something. They want to be part of a community that's making a difference. And I'll tell you right now, guys, I don't care what company that you're in. I don't care what product you have. The best way to help the poor is to not be one. So I think money, financial abundance, gives us the ability to create a quality of life so that we can be stay-at-home parents. That was my hot button. That's the problem that I wanted to solve. Most prospects want that. So again, your job is to help them connect those dots. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the initial interview, because I know this topic is follow-up and mindset, but before you follow up, you have to have that initial conversation. So in order to make this a cohesive training, it's going to have to be all-inclusive. And one of the questions people ask me initially is that, how long should that first call last? Well, my response typically is no longer than 15 minutes. Okay? You don't want to tell them everything. You want to create curiosity, and you want to let your tools, your websites, your conference calls do most of the training. Because understand this, and this is important. The experience that a prospect has when you first start talking to them is how they're going to do the business in most cases. Why is that? It's because that's what they experience. That's what they know. So you want to model good behavior. That make sense? See, I said it again. Somebody should keep ticking marks on how many times I say that throughout this webinar. And again, every presentation you have shouldn't be a presentation. I don't want you to be all stiff, and I don't want you to be all uptight. And that might mean you need to practice. Do the presentation to your cat, your dog, do it to the computer, record it, listen to yourself. Get comfortable at it. Nothing is hard about doing any presentations, okay? If you know the material. It's when you don't know the material, you feel awkward, you don't know what to say, you feel uncomfortable, and then you start getting a little fidgety. But when you understand the material, you can kind of just wing it. That make sense? I want you to be real. I want you to be you. I want you to be friendly, but I want you to have posture. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about posture. Okay, I want you to remember, you're qualifying the prospect. Okay, they're kind of checking you out, but you're going to be spending a lot of time with that person if they come on as a business partner with you. So in that first interview, you want to find out about their dreams and their goals. What are they looking for? They want to make money. Okay, how much money? What are they going to do with the money? It's not just, okay, you want to make $3,000 a month. Okay, Tom, if I can show you how to make $3,000 a month, what's that going to mean to you? How's that going to change the quality of your life? What are you going to do with it? And this is really important. And what I do is I keep a spiral notebook by my phone and on my desk. And it's kind of like my log, my journal. And sometimes, and I'll get into keeping track of conversations a little bit later, or I type it in, but typically I handwrite notes. And everything that your prospect tells you as you're asking these questions, you need to be writing them down, because in the follow-up process, you need to come back to some of those things. You're going to learn about what the hot buttons are for that prospect, because this is about them. This is not about you. This is about them, not about you. So your job is to help them see how your products and your business, your leadership, your team can take them from where they are to where they want to go. That make sense? Cool. All right, let's go through a sample initial interview. And it's going to go something like this. And I'm just going to kind of go through this naturally. I'm not going to read it. And all these slides, by the way, I'll get the Catlin, and we'll make these slides available to you. So it's going to go something like this. The phone's going to ring. I'm going to say, "Hi, is this Mary?" Mary's going to say, "Yeah." "How's it going?" "Hey, do you have a minute, or have I caught you at a bad time?" "No, I have time." "You recently expressed an interest in generating some extra income from home. How can I help you?" And Mary says whatever she says. And then I'm going to say, "Hey, can I ask you a few questions?" And she's going to say, "Sure." "What are you looking for in a business?" "Well, I want to make some money, save some money for my college education for my daughter and my son." "Well, what do you do for a living today? What kind of work do you do?" "Well, I'm a nurse." "Have you ever owned a business before, Mary?" "No, I've had lots of friends who do it, and most of them actually have lost some money. I've often thought about having a business before." And I'm like, "Really? Well, can you tell me a little bit more about that? What would you enjoy if you had a business? What would that mean to you?" Now, I'm deviating off the script here a little bit, guys, because what you have to get good at is probing. You're looking for hot buttons. What would you enjoy, or what did you enjoy about a business that you had? What didn't you like about it? Or what, if you had a business, what wouldn't you want it to be like? Next question is really important. What are you looking for in a home-based business right now? So these three questions, guys, these things are really, really important. What did you enjoy about it if they've been in some sort of home-based business before or ever had a business before? What didn't they like about it? Write these things down. These are really, really important things. What are you looking for in a home-based business? Really important that you write this down. Next question. How much money are you wanting to generate in your first 12 months of your business? You start at ground zero today and you build it up 12 months from now. What do you going to consider a success? And you know what? Some people say, I don't have any idea. What does that tell you? They haven't really give it much thought. Somebody says, I want to make $8,000 a month. I want to make $3,000 a month, whatever it is. Well, that tells you they've been thinking about it. Write that number down. And whatever they said, I don't really care what their answer is. Write it down and say, hey, that's cool, that's good. Well, let me ask you a question. This is kind of where the rubber meets the road, Mary. How many hours a week are you willing to devote to your business so that you can create an income of, $3,000 a month? Typical answer is 10 to 20. But if she says 2 or 3, what does that tell you? Not too committed. Maybe looking for a get-rich-quick deal. If she says, 20 plus, hey, great prospect. That's somebody you want to be working with. Then you say something like this. Hey, let me ask you a question. If I can help you become successful, and it takes a lot of effort on my part, training you, giving you the right knowledge, plugging you into all the systems. If I do all that for you, and I spend a lot of time with you, let me ask you this question. What would you bring to my team, Mary? And why should I invest my time in you? That one question, guys, that's worth the price of admission to this whole course. Trust me, I've been doing this a long time. What would you bring to my team, and why should I invest my time in you? Why is that an important question? It's an important question because it turns the tables. Now she's selling me. She's telling me how wonderful she is. She's telling me what she can do, that she's got great leadership abilities. Or she says, I don't know. Probably not much. Interesting. Somebody says, what would you bring to the team? And she says, not much. What are you going to do? Not spend a lot of time with her. You don't want to be spending your time with people who aren't going to be committed and do this thing. Does that make sense? So let's just say, for example, she says she's going to be a leader. She says she's serious, and she's got all the attributes that you're looking for. And you say, great, hey, let me ask you one more question. Now, before I tell you all about my company and my products, and let's just assume for sake of discussion, you like everything that you see and you hear, and it makes sense to you, and you can see how you can get the right support. Hypothetically, Mary, do you have $500 for the startup kit? Is that in your budget right now? And she's going to say yes or no. Now, again, that whole conversation could take probably 7 minutes tops, guys. And what I've done is I got the money thing out of the way, because one of the things that the prospects always are concerned about is how much is this going to cost, how much am I going to have to spend, and depending on where you send them first, they may or may not know that. Even if they do know that, I would encourage you to ask that question again, just so you get it out there, you can start talking about it, and you want to know before you spend a lot of time with this person, if everything looks good and they feel good about you, your product, your company, your comp plan, the system, and everything, do they have the money? And if they say they don't have the money, then the next question is, Mary, how long would it take you to get the money so you can generate that $3,000 a month income so that you can actually start saving for your daughter's college education? See, I put it back to her and her needs. Is that making sense, guys? Hope so. And then you give them the appropriate websites and stuff like that. So let me summarize this a little bit. Key questions. What are you looking for in a business? How much money would you like to make in your first year? How much time are you willing to spend each week to develop that kind of income for yourself? What do you think you would bring to the team? And why should I invest my time in you? That's the turnaround question. That's important. And if I can show you how to meet your goals and with a proven system, you feel good about it, do you have the $500 or whatever the startup number is for you in your budget to go ahead and get started? You want to know that right away, because that's going to come up certainly in follow-ups. Okay. So we have that initial conversation. She goes out, she gets on a conference call or checks the website out. So when you reconnect, it's important that you are professional, and I'm sure you are. It's important that you smile. It's important that you call at the time of the appointment. And here's what I've discovered over the last probably 10 years in working with a bunch of people and coaching them. and holding them accountable, is that more times than not, they're the ones, the reps are the ones who miss the appointment as opposed to the prospect. That's interesting. Why is that? Well, we're going to get to that in just a few minutes here. When you first get on the phone with Mary or your prospect, find a way to to compliment them, something that they said in the initial conversation, bring it back. Again, you want to make that emotional bond, that connection with them. There's a process called NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and it's about mirroring and modeling people, becoming at a communication level at their level, whatever that is. I was doing a follow-up with a business partner of mine just a few minutes ago before this call, and turns out to be the wrong number. But we're talking to this guy, and he's 71 years old, and he says, "Oh no, I don't care anything about building a business." He said, "Now, if you were calling about tractors, I'd love to have a conversation with you about that." And I said, "Well, as a matter of fact, I have a Massey Ferguson 65 in the barn, 3-gang plow with a disc. I'd love for you to come and get it." And he said, "Well, I might just do that." And instantly, my mind went to connecting with that prospect. That's the point I want to make here, guys. And you want to get good at listening to what the prospect is saying, but listening for ways that you can connect with your prospect. Because people are going to follow you when they know you, like you, and trust you. You've heard that before, right? That's called leadership. There's some sort of connection. So whenever you have a conversation, again, online it's a little bit harder, but when you're on the phone, you can certainly do that. Find a way to connect with that prospect. And you know what? And you can hear this with me, even though this is a one-way conversation. I'm going to laugh at myself most of the time, maybe at you because you're not nodding your head when you're supposed to be nodding your head. But I want you to have fun with it, okay? People like to be around light-hearted people. They like to be around people with good energy. You know you do. So, the prospect does too. And you know what? They are judging you. Okay, they're sizing you up and say, okay, is this the type of person that is going to help me? Is this the type of person that I want to talk on the phone with? Okay? And in that first few minutes when you're talking to that prospect, you always need to go back to one or two of their hot buttons that they brought up in that initial conversation. Does that make sense? It's about connecting. So I want you to watch your language when you talk to a prospect. And not that you're going to cuss or anything like that, but I want you to think about how you're speaking. Are you speaking in terms of you and your interests, or them and their interests? Now, this is probably going to take you a little while to master. And the only way you're going to master this is that if you have a recorder on your desk or near your phone, and you record yourself talking. So conversation could go something like this. "Hey Tom, this is Terry, how's it going?" That's always how I start the conversation. I don't say, "Hi Tom, this is Terry Petrovic calling from North Carolina. Do you have a moment? I'm with company ABC, and I'd love to talk to you." I always begin in a friendly way. If you haven't read the book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, get the book, read it. It's a classic. One of the things he says is, begin in a friendly way. So it's, "Hey Tom, this is Terry, how's it going?" Now he's thinking, okay, who's Terry? I said, "Do you have a minute, or have I caught you at a bad time? How's your weekend with the kids?" And I'm taking him back to the conversation because he told me he was going to go to the beach or whatever. "Tom, I was thinking about the conversation that we had, and I see you as the type of person who can be really successful in this type of business. And you'll soon find out that my business vehicle is, probably the business vehicle that you've been looking for to reach your goal." Now, who's that about? It's about me, right? So let's say, I see you, Tom, as a person who can be very successful in this type of business. And before you know it, Tom, you're going to be well on your way to accomplishing your goals and your businesses and your business. And that's kind of what we want to do. We want to get our language, guys. We want to get our language. You've maybe studied copywriting. You've heard probably the difference between features and benefits. Well, this is features up here. My business is the vehicle, okay? That's a feature. There's the benefit, right? So in this case, before you know it, Tom, you will be well on your way. That's his benefit to accomplishing his goals. Does that make sense to you guys? Now, I know you might think that this is, short hairs, but I'm going to tell you, when you're talking on the phone, you're connecting with your prospect, when you talk in terms of their interests and not yours, you're going to get their attention. And that's really what it's all about. So how do you see if they're going to join you or likely to join you before you even ask them? It's very important in that initial call or that initial follow-up call, you say things like, Mary, can you see yourself sharing this type of product or business with people? Do you know anybody who might benefit from this type of business? Do you know anybody who might want this type of product? And, basically, have you ever seen that, the dog in the back of the window in the back seat and the kind of like bobblehead, goes up and down, up and down, up and down? That's kind of what you want your prospect to be doing. So the types of questions you need to be asking should be soliciting a positive response. Can you see yourself sharing this type of product with people? Yeah, I know lots of people. You know anybody who could benefit from the product in this business? Absolutely. Do you know anybody who'd like to slow down the aging process or lose weight or have more energy or make more money or rebuild their retirement plan? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Cool. All right. Those are important things that you ask prospects. Is this making sense? Hope so. Okay. Here's some key questions to ask on the follow-up. Take them through the information. They go to the website. You ask, some key questions like, can you see the benefits of this product or this business? And then ask them, can you see kind of what I was talking about before, Tom? I think you're going to discover that the closer you look at this company and these products, the better it's going to look. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. Tom, let me ask you a question. How'd you like to have a successful team of people helping you build your business? Do you think that might help? Don't you think you could reach your goals faster, George, if you and I were to lock arms and do this thing together? You see, what you're doing, guys, right here is on top up here. You're bringing them back to see the value of the product and the opportunity. In here, you're positioning yourself as a leader. You're going to lock arms with them. You're going to get in the trench with them. They're not going to be left alone. And you're saying, basically, and even if you're relatively new guys, you can do this. Because hopefully you've sent the prospect to a place where they understand a little bit more about your team, your leadership, the community that you have. And you say, wouldn't it make sense that if you took the best of what you had, George, and the best of what I had, and we use this amazing team leader that we have, the super guru ninja guy, if the three of us were to lock arms and work together, don't you know that we could accomplish your goals a whole lot faster? Now, if you look at what I just said there, I said, don't you know, pause, we could accomplish your goals a whole lot faster. The power of the pause, guys, I'm telling you, the power of the pause is so strong. Give your prospect an opportunity to process what you're saying. All too often I see people having a bad case of verbal diarrhea. They just talk. And you know what? You almost drown the prospect. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, so how do you extend an invitation for people to join your business? When they're giving you a bunch of positive signals, here's a tricky one. You just say, hey, so you ready to get started? And a lot of times I'll say those exact words, and you know what? I laugh just like that. And then I say, how'd you like that hard close? And they kind of get tickled, and they say, well, yeah, that's pretty good. Because you know what? This is not about me. This is about them. And I tell prospects this all the time. I didn't write this in here. I should have. But I would say probably 80% of the people that I talk to resonate with this. Maybe it resonates with you. Maybe it doesn't. But I say, you know what, Mary? I hate to be sold anything, but I like to buy. So my style is kind of like, give me the information, get out of my face. I don't mean to be rude, but it's like, give me the information. I'm smart. If I like it, I'm going to buy it. But in the same turn, I'm going to honor you and I'm going to respect you to know that if it's not something you want, that's cool. I don't like to be pressured. Do you? Why would we do that to our prospects? Something else you can say is, you know what, Mary? All we need to do to get you started is your social security number and credit card, and we'll get you ready, registered with the company right now. When you ask questions like that, really important is you be quiet. Let them think. Let them respond. Some of you guys, that'd be murder for you. It'd be murder for you because you want to close the sale. You want to get that sign up. Well, I'm telling you, it ain't about you. It's about them. Ask the question. Let them respond because you never know what they're going to say. So how often do you follow up? And this is a question I get asked all the time. Well, you know, if you're doing, you're leaving voicemail messages on answer machines, I like to refer to it as baseball. You know, 3 strikes and they're out. And I'll take you through some voicemail messages here in just a few minutes. But if they're not responding, remember what I said earlier on, you know, put that on a post-it note. Listen to what people say. Watch what they do. If somebody is not calling you back, what does that tell you? Either they're super, super busy or they have no interest. And in more cases than not, they have no interest. You probably haven't done a good job of qualifying them in that initial interview. But at the same turn, sometimes people are really, really busy. So when you go through this process, just don't chase people. That's probably the biggest lesson I want you to know. Don't chase people. You don't need that. So let's go through some of these voice messages. Now, this is somebody that filled out maybe a web form or something like this. I'm going to say, you know, hi, Mary. Hi, this message is for Mary. Mary, this is Terry Petrovic calling from North Carolina. You recently went to a website of mine called x.com. You expressed an interest in earning some extra income from home. Pause. Mary, I've got a successful track record of helping people. Give me a call as soon as you get this message. My number is 919-528-9162. That's 919-528-9162. And let's see what we can do about getting you on the fast track to success. Make it a better than terrific day. Now, let's look a little bit about what I said and why I put the pauses in there. I wanted people, in this case, to know that I was calling long distance, because even though most people have flat rate plans today, sometimes when people call out of state, there's still the feeling of, ooh, this is important. You expressed an interest in earning extra income from home. Pause. Mary, I've got a successful track record. I'm establishing myself as a leader. And then I give my phone number twice. As soon as you get this message, Mary, give me a call at 919, pause, 528, pause, 9162. That's 919-528-9162. I don't know about you guys. You know, it's like I get voice messages all the time, and somebody will leave the phone number once, and I'm like, oh, I can't write that fast. And, you know, it's give the prospect the benefit of you saying your phone number slow and repeating it twice. Make it easy on them. And then, you know what? You don't call them back for 48 hours. You don't call them back for 48 hours. There's a 48-hour window between each and every call. Second voicemail is this. Hi, this message is for Mary. Mary, this is Terry Petrovic calling from North Carolina. This is the second voicemail or voice message that I'm leaving for you, Mary. You recently went to a website of mine called x.com. You expressed an interest in generating extra income from home. Mary, I've got a very successful track record in helping people become successful. Give me a call as soon as you get this message. My number is 919-528-9162. That's 919-528-9162. Let's see what we can do about getting you on the fast track to success. Make it a better than terrific day. Take care. Bye-bye. You wait 48 hours. So basically, same message. The only thing different is this is the second message I'm leaving for you, Mary. Third one. A little bit stronger posture on this one, you'll notice. Hi, this message is for Mary. Mary, this is Terry Petrovic calling from North Carolina. You expressed an interest in earning some extra income from home. Mary, pause. If you're serious about doing that, please give me a call as soon as you get this message at 919-528-9162. That's 919-528-9162. Mary, pause. This is my third and final call to you. If you're just as busy as I am, then call me when you have time. I look forward to hearing from you. Make it a better than terrific day. At this point, guys, your prospect has pretty much demonstrated they have no interest. But having said that, I will tell you, I have gotten many calls back on that message when I said this was my third and final call. If you want to learn more, get back with me. And they apologize profusely. And then they call me back. So, again, you know, the thing about the business that we're in here, guys, is that we're kind of in the sorting process. We're also in the numbers game. And what I've discovered over the years is that when you have lots of people to talk to, you don't really care if people call you back or not, because you're looking for people who are looking for what you have. Does that make sense? You're looking for people who are looking for what you have. You know, did somebody chase you down, hunt you down, and call you 20 times a day? Not likely. Let's say, for example, you call and it's busy, or you call and it never goes to an answer machine. One of the things that you can do is, if you have a landline, is you can press *67. That will actually block your caller ID. Some phones actually do have a block the block. So they will not accept your phone call if you have caller ID blocked. So you just have to hang up and call again. But that's just a trick you can use. So initial follow-up questions that you can also ask after somebody went to the websites is, you know, what impressed you about what you saw? Don't ever say, what'd you think? Look for the positive. What impressed you about the video? What impressed you about the products? Can you see how lots of people could benefit from this type of business or product? Would you like to help people with this product or the business? Mary, are you ready to put a plan in place to make that extra $3,000 to $5,000 a month? Now, here's what I always do, guys, is no matter what number they say, could be 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, is when I do the follow-up, I always state their number, 3,000 in this example, but I also bump it up a little bit. I want to give them a bigger vision of possibility. Because you know what? That's really what they want. But they're kind of scared that they may not be able to pull that off. This next question is a great question. Mary, how serious are you about accomplishing, you know, that $3,000 a month to help your daughter with her college education? On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the highest, how would you rate yourself? 10. That's a committed person. I don't know, 5 or 6. You know, life is kind of busy right now, and I just don't know if I can do this, Terry. You know, there's got so much going on. What does that tell you? Exactly what she told you. Her interest is at 5 or 6. She's not that serious. Now, this last question is really a great question to ask, because it kind of is going to help you as a coach. You know, how do you see yourself marketing the products in the business? People can do it online or offline. Even though you recruited them online, they can do it totally offline. They can approach all of their family and all of their friends. Do you really care? You know, I just brought on a business partner who makes over $500,000 a year in a company. He joined us in our business. I do everything online. He does everything offline. Am I going to tell him that he needs to come online? Heck no. The guy's a master at what he does. He's got a massive network. He's connected. He's a very influential person. I'm not going to tell him that he has to do it all online. He'll use websites, but his gift and his niche, if you will, it's face-to-face. Hey, you know what? What you have to know is this truth in this business. There's no one right way to build this business. meaning online or offline. If you guys were to meet my daughter, Christina's now 27. She's the type of person, she goes into Starbucks and walks out with 3 friends. She'll be talking to somebody on the phone about her business, and everybody in the whole place can hear her. Not my style, but you know what? She's really successful at that, and that's cool. So your job as a coach is to figure out how people want to market the products in the business, and then help them do that. Does that make sense? Don't push your agenda on them, because it doesn't work. I know this because I've tried this. You have to figure out what do people like to do, and then help them do that more efficiently, more effectively. And you know what? Maybe you don't have the skill set, but I promise you this, somebody in your upline team does. And you know, this has nothing to do with follow-up. This has nothing to do with recruiting, but I want to tell you this because this is a truth in this business, is that you need to have relationships with the top pins in your direct upline. So whatever the highest Starfleet commander position is, it's your job to call that person. It's not their job to call you. You need to seek leadership up. You need those people to get to know who you are so that you can ask them for help, so that they will indeed help you. Could be a guest on your conference call, could help you with a 3-way when you get a big dog every once in a while, but make sure that you have somebody in your upline that you know who is a 6-figure income earner. That's the qualifier. 6-figure income earner that you can call on to help you do 3-ways. 3-way calls are absolutely magical, especially in the follow-up process, guys. So, what are the best times to follow up and call prospects? Well, general rule of thumb, because most people work a job, general rule of thumb is from 6:30 to 9 p.m. their time. Now, I'm in North Carolina. When I first got started, I would call people to 9 p.m. their time. And you know what? That was midnight our time. And you know what? I did that because I was hungry, as Les Brown says. You know, I had to make this work. I needed to make this work. There was no other option for me. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I was committed to do. So I was willing to stay up to midnight calling people in California. And now I got a bunch of people in Hawaii. So now I even have to stay up later sometimes. But you know what? I'm willing to do that because I'm committed. My question for you is that, are you committed? Are you willing to do that? What are your dreams? Are you willing to do what most people won't do? You look at every successful leader, and if you have a conversation with them, they're going to tell you that they had to hustle. If you haven't read the book by Gary Vaynerchuk called Crush It, get it. Fantastic book. Fantastic book. He talks about hustle. He talks about passion. Saturday mornings, what I've discovered is pretty much till about 2 o'clock is okay. Afternoons, evenings, not so much. Sundays after 5 o'clock, 5 to 9, is a pretty decent time. The exception to all of the above is that if you have an appointment, again, you have an appointment at a prearranged time, that's the best time to call the prospect. Make sure you have a system in place so when that appointment comes up, you are there and you can support and answer your prospect's questions. And don't overschedule yourself. Again, I've said this, is that I've seen in more times than not, representatives will drop the ball and miss prearranged appointments. Don't be like that. So what kind of tools can you use? And what have I used? Well, this is a little program called ACT. Outlook is another one, and I was doing some playing around, and you can actually go create a Gmail account, and you can use Google Calendar. Now, if you don't know how to use any of these tools, you can go to YouTube, and YouTube will actually typically have a video on how to use Google Calendar, which is what I was playing around with. The thing I like about ACT is it actually gives me the ability to put little notes. The red is a high priority. I have a blue indicator, which is a middle of the range, and black is a low priority prospect. So you see this, I put a little note here, HQ, that's a high quality prospect. Here are some people that actually I didn't have their last name for, so for the last name I just put the area code in there. And again, when you have a system like this, it tells you where your where you're working, where you're not working, and you see this guy right here. His name is Sonny Potts. I'll tell you just a little bit about Sonny. The last time I talked to Sonny, well, I shouldn't say the last time. The first time I talked to Sonny was in 2008. It was August of 2008. So it's almost 2 full years have gone by. Now, Sonny actually is in the software industry. He tells me, $1 million a year. That's his annual income, 7-figure earner. And I've been talking with him, and he's never said no. He's always expressed a positive interest with me, but he's always been busy. Now, when it comes to follow-up, when you have a system like this in place, I've got every note that I've kept in our conversations with Sonny since 2008, and I can tell, and I actually did this when I called him recently, and I said, Sonny, the last time we talked was, in August, I think it was 16th, 2008 at, 4:56 p.m. He said, man, you got a good system there. I said, well, I'm a professional, Sonny. What would you expect? He says, you're right, me too. What did I just do? I positioned my posture and my leadership as somebody who is indeed a professional. Here's a great sheet I call the weekly call log. One of the things that's really, really important, and has been for me for a long time, is to make sure that I run my business in 90-day intervals. So I always try to keep those goals, my 90-day goals, in the forefront of my mind. So you can actually put the week of whatever the week is that you're working, and this little tick sheet, if you will, this call log, is going to cut through all the fluff, cut through all your excuses, and put you in a place of what's black and white in terms of your business. So what we have here is number of calls that you didn't make contact with, number of follow-up calls, so just put a little ticky mark for each one of these, number of calls that didn't qualify, number of calls that did qualify, number of three-ways or two-on-one presentations, and number of support calls, or where you did a three-way call for a team member. And you can make a spreadsheet, just get a scrap piece of paper and just keep these little ticky marks. These little ticky marks, when you look at them and when you coach yourself and other people, it's going to cut through, again, all the fluff, and it's black and white, and either you did it or you didn't. And most times you see a pattern of people not doing three-way calls. They make the initial prospecting approach. They do a presentation, send somebody to a website, but they drop the ball on the follow-up. Now, if you want to get down to the next level, this is called an action tracker, and you can go ahead and create a spreadsheet for something like this if you like. You see here at the top is prospecting, and you see I have points associated for each activity. 20 points for a new prospect, 20 points for a follow-up, prospect on the conference call. I actually did a presentation, face-to-face. Three-way call with a prospect, disqualified a prospect. I give myself points for that, and I actually give my points for doing dials. Again, it's a numbers game. It's all about the mindset, but you want to make sure that you're totaling your points here as well. So every day, and then you want to have your weekly total here. And then group support. How many calls did you do for your downline? 20 points there. Individual training action session, three-way calls for your downline, group communication. All of these points add up. And then we continue here with personal development. I believe 30 minutes a day is what people need to do. A group call could be a weekly training call. Attend a seminar or a training event somewhere where people actually had to go out of their house and do something. And then, depending on the levels of your kits that you have, your startup options, the highest level, 200 points, the small one, 50 points, a retail customer, 25, and if you got somebody on auto order, 30. And you can set these numbers up however you want. This is just what I've done, and it's worked really well for myself and lots of other people as well. So why do we emphasize follow-up so much? We said it before. We're going to say it again. You really need to get this, my friend. The fortune is in the follow-up. When you fail to follow up, it's lose-lose. So why don't we do it? Well, sometimes the story in our head is, the person's going to say no, or we're afraid that they're going to reject us, or that they're not going to sign up. Sometimes the reason we don't follow up is we're lazy. We make excuses and we do other things. Sometimes it's because we're unorganized. If that's you, stop it. This is serious stuff here. You want to create patterns of success, not sabotage. So why is it that I've created the habits and I follow up like a friggin' maniac? Well, I know the value of my time. I know the value of a serious business partner as well. And I continue the follow-up process until somebody signs up or I disqualify them. I tell people when I'm following up with them, hey, I can follow up with you in 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years. This is not about me. It's about you. It's about you getting your life back. I follow up because I have a vision for success that gets me and keeps me emotionally charged. Again, it's those 90-day goals. It's I know what I'm going to create, and I know that it's going to be up to me to make it happen. I also know that for my team, it's important that I lead by example, and I want the financial freedom and the quality of life that is important for me. It's critically important that you become more disciplined. After your initial call, always set an appointment. Never say or let a prospect say to you, hey, call me at the end of the week. No. If they say call me at the end of the week, and I'll say is Thursday or Friday better? Friday, okay, great. Is 7 or 8 o'clock better for you? 8 o'clock, great. Now I've set an appointment with that person. Write down as many details as you possibly can about that conversation. Ask your prospect if they've written that appointment in their appointment book. Ask them to repeat the time and date. Some of this seems kind of redundant, but if you're seeing these patterns, maybe it's your posture, maybe it's just some prospects, but you want to make sure that you treat your business like a business because you're serious about it. A lot of times people treat it like a hobby and they expect business income and results. It's not the way it works. Your time is your only limited asset. That is your limiting factor. Don't waste your time talking to people if you're not going to follow up with them. That makes no sense at all. Does that make sense? So here's some rules to follow up. If you're new, always do 3-way calls with your upline. That's going to increase your sign-up ratio, and it takes you out of the whole closing process. It's actually a lot more duplicatable that way too. Always be specific when you set a follow-up appointment. Create urgency. Have strong posture. Make a preemptive request. If for some reason you can't make the appointment, would you be professional and give me a courtesy call and let me know why you can't be there or if something happens? Again, you're letting the prospect know that you're absolutely dead serious. Be on time for your appointments. I'm shocked at the number of people who actually don't show up to appointments. I think actually sometimes it's more the associates or the distributors who don't show up than the prospects. And without a doubt, never chase the person. Remember, it's baseball, 3 strikes and they're out. Learn how to control your emotions. Know that emotions are just feelings, and everybody has them. Sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down. Don't get emotional. Don't take this personal. You're sorting. You're looking for people who are looking for what you have. The one thing you do not want to do is let your emotions get in the way of you being effective. If someone you've talked to who you thought really was going to go gangbusters and be the next rock star, if they don't show up, if they don't get involved, it's just another day at the office. Don't wallow in your misery. I say to people all the time, tell me yes, tell me no, tell me quick, I gotta go. And just because somebody throws some money at me and gets started in my business, that doesn't get me excited. It's just another day at the office. Even if they are a 6 or 7 figure earner. Once they start building a team, then I'll start to get a little bit more excited. Don't judge people and their abilities because you never know what they're going to do and how things change in their life. There's no shortage of people out there. Again, sort and sift. Look for people who are looking for what you have. Getting you down gets you nowhere, so absolutely don't do that. Remember this. Some will, some won't, so what? Someone's waiting. So some people say, that's SW, SW, SW. For me, that's 3 SWs, by the way. When I added that 4th SW, someone's waiting. I don't know what it did, but for me, it gave me the energy, the desire, if you will, to keep pushing through and keep talking to people. And, the truth is, it's always easier if you have 20 or 30 people in your pipeline or in your hopper than if you just have 1 or 2. You need to be very, very consistent and continue to build that pipeline. Does that make sense? And what I've discovered is my business has always grown in waves. Because I build my pipeline, I'll sign up, 5, 10, 20 people at a time, and then it'll be a little dry spell for a while, and then I'll sign up another wave. And that's just the way it's always worked for me. When you're begged, convinced, cajoled, chased, coerced into joining the business, that's not very attractive. You probably weren't any of those things. I personally hate to be sold to, but I like to buy. So know that if you're having to or wanting to call people a bunch of times, you need to listen to what they're not saying to you, which is really they're not interested. Your job is not to convince people that you have a great opportunity, but rather to find people who are searching for your opportunity. And when they find it, they want to do something about it. Just got off the phone with one of my team members, and it was all about asking good questions and really digging into the why of the prospect. It's very important that you do that as well. Will you quit? $64 question. Here's what I want you to know. Write this down on a Post-it note. What people think of you is none of your business. Truth is, they're going to judge you no matter what. They're going to give you bad stories. They're going to try to inject that in your head, and well, don't accept it. Spit it back at them. Do not worry about what other people think of you. Stay clear on your vision and your goals, and get your head on right. And sometimes for me, building that belief is a challenge. And there's a song by Mariah Carey that I've used lots of times, When You Believe. And, maybe it's a silly song, but for me, it stirs my emotions. So find an external stimulus, if you will, that'll help you change your state. The other thing you want to do is you want to look at people who are at the top pins in your business and say to yourself, if these guys can do it, I can do it too. Again, it's about belief. The question you need to ask yourself is that what are they doing that you're not? Belief and communication are two major skills that I think most people are lacking today. And if you focus on skills and you have no belief, you're going to struggle. And when you prospect whiners, complainers, then odds are you're going to be sabotaging yourself, and you're going to fall into a rut of not bringing people in. And in fact, you probably won't want to recruit anymore and might totally unplug and quit from your business. So don't do that. You're better than that, okay? Stick around positive people who support you, and never give up on your dreams. For things to change, you got to change. For things to get better, you got to get better. Your belief is going to be challenged. Accept it, deal with it, work on your skills to overcome it. You cannot let outside circumstances determine your belief. You've got to decide what you believe in. You've got to decide on what's important for you. Be confident and be caring when you talk to people. You must believe that there's nothing better than what you have to offer. If there is, then join another leader in another company. I've done that. You got to say to yourself, is this business and this business model going to take me from where I am to where I want to go? And if it's not, change. Sometimes that means changing your mindset. Sometimes it means changing a coach. Sometimes it means changing a company. Hey, it's called life. Deal with it. Do what you got to do to get where you want to go. Yet you have to retrain yourself to look at your beliefs maybe a little bit differently and change your outcome. If you haven't read the book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, get it. It's a fantastic book. Here's basically how it works. Now, you have an experience, then you have a belief, and a behavior which leads to results. Then you can ask yourself, am I happy with the results I'm getting? Now think about this as we're talking about prospecting and following up. See, Harv believes that thoughts lead to feelings lead to actions, and actions leads to results. Other way you want to think of this is that if you want to change the fruits, you got to first change the roots, the things down deep. If you want to change the visible, you got to first change the invisible. All these little sayings are kind of corny, but you know what? They all kind of make sense. So really, it's up to you. You've got to see yourself and think of yourself as a business developer. Be part of people's life for a long time. It's not about short term. It's about relationships, and it's about building something that's going to last. This is not a sales job. This is really about building a long-term business partnership. And tell people, you specialize in creating long-term business relationships so that you can be mutually profitable. And you love having friends all over the world if your business is global. You create doubt and fear when you're not talking to new prospects. You will beg people to join, you will lose your posture, and you'll be willing to make deals and actually give up. You've got to find a way to increase your call flow tremendously. You've got to be talking to lots of people. When you have 2 or 3 prospects that you're talking to, everything is resting on them. But when you have 20 or 30 or 40 or 100, you don't really care. You also want to, as you're prospecting and talking to people, you want to flex your leadership muscles. You want to have things out there in the public domain. Here's a couple examples you can check out that I've done before. I've got a blog called MLMleadschool.com, and I was really scared to make that for a long time, and I did, and people love it, and I love it, and it's a lot of fun. But here's some bonus offers. You also want to have a blog for your own personal name that you can, brand, and you want to offer mentoring, and ideally have some testimonials there and things like that. Building confidence and continue skill development is critical for your overall success. Focus on income-generating activities and balance your time. One seminar or webinar is not going to make you or break you. You've got to continue that education on a regular basis. Sharpen the saw, recharge your battery. You've got to master the art of controlling the conversation. And the person who actually does that is the one who's asking the questions, by the way. You also have to master the art of listening to and for your prospects. Listen to what they're saying, listen to what they're not saying. Don't try to sell people or chase people. That's not fun. And, by all means, stay out of your own way, for crying out loud. You are not the issue. Your fear is not the issue. It's about the people out there who need you, who need your business. If you don't believe in the product or the company and the industry, let your ego go. Odds are there's some very successful people in your company. Find out what they're doing. Maybe you can learn something from them. People can succeed if you give them a chance, and if you support them and coach them. And giving them unconditional love and support and not being attached to what they do with it is really, really important as well. I could talk for 2 hours on that topic, actually. There are people out there who just need a chance. Single moms, single dads. I met a guy recently, single dad, 4 kids, working like a maniac, just trying to survive. And I'm like, man, I feel so bad for him. My heart just went out to him. You are the messenger, not the message. Remember that. Get out of your own way. Use the tools to tell the story. Loosen up and have fun. Be yourself. Focus on just helping people. Find out about people. Learn about people. And really try to help them create a better quality of life, whatever that looks like for them. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's time. Sometimes it's health. You don't know what it is, so don't assume you know, which is a big mistake a lot of people make. So let's get into some follow-up and closing scripts. It's a very simple thing to do, but it's a smile. Prospects can see and hear your smile over the telephone. People just get that energy. Everybody likes to be around positive people. I always like to tease prospects. One of my goals is to make a new friend and get a prospect to laugh. And, hey, you know what? It makes my job a lot more enjoyable as well. So here's some scripts, and you can kind of tweak them, and all of these are in the slide, so I'm not going to go over them in a tremendous amount of detail here, but I want to give them so you'll have them as reference point. So, hi, Mr. Prospect. How's it going? I like to build rapport, laugh a little bit. Did you get a chance to review the information yet? What'd you like about what you saw? I tell you, and then I'll say, well, tell me more about that. Okay, Tom, Mr. Prospect. Let me ask you a question. Do you want to make a little or a lot of money? Really? Tell me more about that. What for? At your current job, how long is it going to be able to take you to be able to create that kind of income for yourself? Interesting. Where do you see yourself getting started? You see yourself starting at the bottom and get the basic pack and working slowly so that you can, accomplish your goals of saving money for college? Or would you like to put yourself in a position where you can earn 10 times more, get on the fast track, and develop a serious business relatively quickly? And then just be quiet. And then say, welcome aboard. Here's a great one. It's a money objection on the follow-up call. Odds are if you get the money objection, you haven't done some things right in the prospecting and the presenting. You're probably a little wobbly or shaking when you ask people to get started at the $1,000 or $2,000 package or whatever your big package is, if you have one, $500, whatever it is. It's not really what you say, but how you say it. So if somebody is having money problems, you can just ask them a question. And just, again, this is kind of a script, but you want to be real with people. And just say, hey, look, I get that you have money problems. But I got to ask you this question. Is it that you've really fallen on some hard times and you really don't have the extra money to get started so that you can accomplish your goals and you're really serious about those goals? Or is it that you just don't really want to hurt my feelings by telling me you don't have the money and you really don't really think this is for you? And they say, no, I'm really, really serious. So you say, okay, Tom, I can help you. I'd like to be direct, and I'd like to challenge you to find a way to beg or borrow the money legally, and get started immediately. Are you willing to do that? And then if you are, we can take some massive action together and get the results you want and create some positive cash flow. The other thing I'll do is, if they're real serious and they're dead broke, I'll have them make a list of 100 names. And I'll have them email that list to me with phone numbers, and I'll call them, and I will work with them to sign some people up, save the enrollment bonuses, and put that money towards their kids so they can get that position. There's always a way to get people started if they don't have money. You're looking for people with more desire than excuses, guys. That's really the number one thing. Somebody says to you, well, I got to think about it, and say, okay, is it that you're absolutely deadly serious about saving money for college and that you really do need to think things over and that you have some questions that you really need to get answered? Or is it you're really not serious at all about, saving that money for college and you're just telling me you need to think about it because you don't want to hurt my feelings? Is that what's going on here? You can see in both of these examples, I am kind of very direct and straightforward with them. I'm a no BS kind of guy. And I think if you create that kind of posture and where you're direct like that, people will respect you, and more importantly, you will respect you more, and that's really the number one reason to do that. So if they say, yeah, I'm really serious, and then you just say, well, sounds like you've got some questions, so what's your first question? They've got, another question, say, great, I had that one too, or what's your second question? And then if they have 10 questions, write all those 10 questions down and go boom, 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 answer all those questions. So when you're finishing, say, so, any more questions? They'll say no. Say, well, are you ready to go ahead and get started? And you'd be surprised how many times they say yeah. So this is basically what I just talked about there, so I'm going to move on. Question is this a pyramid, or is this selling, or do I have to sell? I like this one. You can actually have a lot of fun with this one. And that is just say, well, what do you mean by that? And let them answer however they answer. And then you can say, is that what you're looking for? Do I have to sell? Is that what you're looking for? And if they say yes, I'll say, great, welcome aboard. If they say, no, that's not what I'm looking for, I'll say, great, welcome aboard. I look forward to working with you. So again, no matter what they say, you say, somebody asked me one time, do I have to knock on doors to do this business? I said, well, do you like knocking on doors? And they said, yeah, absolutely. I said, well, yeah, you can absolutely do this. Welcome aboard. Again, have fun with this, my friend. Have fun with this. The objection of, I need to talk to my spouse. Again, getting really direct here. Tom, is it that you really run all your decisions by your wife first, or is it that you're not serious about your goals and you're telling me that you need to talk to your wife first because you don't really want to hurt my feelings? I say, oh, no, I really need to talk to the wife. Okay, great. Tell me, Tom, have you ever brought something to your wife before that you were really excited about? And you say, yeah. And did she have some questions that you were not able to answer? Well, yeah. And Tom, has it ever been kind of frustrating that you couldn't answer all the questions and she wound up popping your bubble? Yeah. Well, why don't you let me help you with that? Because I'm sure that was kind of frustrating. So to save us some time, and from that happening, what we really need to do is let your wife take a look at the same information the same way that you did. And at that point, you and she can decide if this is going to work for you or not. Or, the other option is, plan B, is we can go ahead and get you started and start putting you to work tomorrow and start making you money right away so you can show her your check. Which of those sounds better for you? Some people are going to say, I want to talk to my spouse. Some people say, well, let's get it done and I'll show her the check. You never know. You're just trying to, encourage the person to move along here. So let's wrap this up, and I want to kind of make sure that you're really, really clear on this. Mindset and belief are, without a doubt, the most important things that you can do to ensure your success. Be yourself. Be disciplined, be organized, and have fun. Now, if you're not disciplined and that's not you, get that way. I had affirmations that I read to myself on a daily basis that I was disciplined, well organized, and I used my time wisely. I did that because I was horrible at those things. But you know what? I had to change, and that's okay. Remember that you are the one who's interviewing the prospect, and you control the process. You are responsible for two things: extending an invitation and following up and collecting a decision. That's about all we can control. We can't control whether they look at it. We can't control what they're going to do with it. But we can control the number of people we expose it to and the number of people we follow up with. That's it. So connect with me if you have any questions about this on Facebook. You can go to facebook.com/fan of Terry Petrovic. And you can also email me. And if you have a question, I'm pretty available. That's my direct line. You can certainly give me a call anytime. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. I appreciate you. I appreciate your mission that you're on and really trying to make a difference in the world. Remember this. You have a choice. Make it a better than terrific day and a prosperous one, because you absolutely deserve it. Take care. Bye-bye now.